In this video, you will learn how to find wholesale suppliers for your Amazon FBA business. The goal behind this entire training series is to be with you, support you every step of the way of building your Amazon FBA wholesale business. This is part 2 of a multi-part training series where in part 1 we did a full overview. It was 44 minutes long overview on the foundations of your wholesale business. This part 2 is going to be all about actually finding suppliers. So by the end of this video, we're going to give you many different strategies, many different ways that you can actually potentially find those wholesale suppliers to build a great working relationship with. My name's Kev, welcome to the Life Success Engineer channel, where I help entrepreneurs just like you take massive action in their businesses. If this is the first time you've seen me, please hit that subscribe button, please give it a big thumbs up if you do enjoy this, and let's begin. So the first section, the first sort of chapter of this second part is just going to be a quick review of the wholesale foundations. Now, the first video was 44 minutes long, which means I'm not going to cover everything that we discussed. So if you do want to watch the entire series, you can do. But these 4 points are really, really important points when it comes to your wholesale foundations. Okay, so the first one, it goes on to your vision, your story. If you remember on part 1, we were really trying to share that you are a retailer. Okay, you are going to a wholesale supplier, and that wholesale supplier is looking at working with retailers. So you are a retailer, a part of your e-commerce business. You're not just an Amazon FBA seller that wants to open accounts with different wholesalers, because when we start actually talking to wholesalers and when we start trying to open accounts, there are a number of things that you need to be aware of that you don't want to be saying, such as open my account because I'm an Amazon seller and I want your products, right? You want to be representing yourself, your story as a retailer. Okay, so you want to build some great working relationships with wholesalers that you can build a great relationship with, a part of your story, your vision. Okay, so you need to know what type of wholesaler or what type of retailer you are actually representing yourself as. So whether that is you're just a general retailer, or you want to specialize in toys, or you want to specialize in groceries, or you want to specialize in health and beauty products, whatever it is, you want to have a vision for your business. Because when you start actually talking to account managers and sales teams, they are going to ask you some questions. They're going to ask you a bit more about your business. What do you do? So your vision, your story is a really important aspect of the foundations. Number 2 is then having your own website, having some presence online, whether that is through social media. Because again, you're a retailer, you're an e-commerce seller. So if you don't currently have any presence online, and they start to ask a little bit more about you, they start to ask a little bit more about your story, what do you currently do, and you simply just say, I'm an Amazon FBA seller, this is going to potentially cause you problems. Okay, so again, you're an e-commerce seller. You really want to build an e-commerce business where Amazon FBA is just a leg of that. And we discussed all that in part 1. Then number 3 is all about, obviously, if you want to be, once you've got the website, you will then have an email address that is like a branded email address. So I tried to give the example of, let's say I am purchasing at kevstoys.com. That looks more professional, a part of the website, a part of the presence, a part of your story, a part of your vision. That is much more professional when you're actually talking to people and you've got sort of your business cards and things to actually give. Okay, so instead of it being Kev's Toys 1979 at gmail.com or at hotmail.co.uk, that doesn't look as professional. So just be aware of that. Number 4 is then, your location, your address, whereabouts you're shipping from, whereabouts your location is. And we discussed all about that. If you do have a warehouse, that's going to help you. If you do maybe even have a store, that's going to help you. If you're currently at home, it's not that it's impossible to open accounts, but you may find it a little bit more challenging when you're painting this picture, your story, the presence, the website, the email address, your vision. You're going to be held back if you're just shipping from home and they do a Google search and they see you live on a street of a town or a village somewhere. Okay, not to mention, obviously when you're starting to order pallets, you may start to have bigger lorries come your way, bigger Arctics come your way, which means if you're getting a delivery to your address, that's your home address, that can then start to cause you some problems because they can't get into your location, right? So these were just the foundations that we covered. We went in depth with these. So what we're going to do in this second part, based on all this, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the computer and we're going to give you a number of different researches and strategies that you can implement to find potential accounts, shortlist potential accounts and wholesalers that you may want to then start to contact. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's jump into the computer right now. So the first thing we want to do is be as organized as possible, and what is the strategy that we're actually following here? What is the process? So number 1, the first thing we're going to do is just create a wholesale supplier shortlist. Okay, this is just a shortlist of 10, 15, 20, 30 wholesalers. What we're going to do some research around, and we're going to try finding. And then I always recommend to do it in that way, just to batch lots of different potential leads, shortlist of wholesalers. And then later on, we give them a call and send them emails and actually make contact, instead of just doing it all one at a time. It's completely up to you which way you do this, but it's a very simple Google sheet. It's just reference. We've got a wholesaler name. We've got wholesaler URL. You can add more columns to this. It's really up to you how complex you want to do this. You can put contact details on there, like phone number, email address. You can put social media platform URLs. You can put whatever you ultimately want and how in-depth you want to go here. But for this purpose, I'm going to keep it super simple, wholesaler name and wholesaler URL. So now we're just going to actually come up with some potential leads. And the first thing, as you see here, is Google. So I've just put in wholesale UK, wholesaler UK. There's many different search terms that you can use. Wholesalers near me, wholesale UK toys, wholesalers UK fashion, jewelry, homeware, whatever it is, whatever your strategy is, whatever you want to actually build as per everything we've just said. But for the purpose of this, I'm just going to put wholesalers UK. And what you'll see is it's just going to come up with lots of different wholesalers. The wholesaler.co.uk, Pound Wholesale, we've got MX Wholesale, we've got Harrison's Direct, the one and only that we like to use all the time for ungating purposes, and we recommend it for anybody getting started to get ungated. They do help you out. We've got Apollo, we've got Cut Price, we've got there's so many different wholesalers. But let's say, for example, there's a wholesaler that you like the look of, something different wholesale, because you're going to go into the niche of being something different. I don't know these. We don't know what type of products they are until we click on them, but you can start to see, okay, these are the difference. Okay, they're doing some fragrance, doing some also Christmas stuff. Depending on what you're looking for, they're doing home garden, accessories, and if this is something that you're interested in, right, you would take the URL, you put that into there, and then we're going to have, it's just something different wholesale. Okay, we're just going to have their name and we're going to have their URL. That's all we're doing. We're going to capture as much information as we can, just going to create a very simple short list of potential leads, something that you're interested in, something that you look at that and go, okay, these are some great products. A couple of things to think about whenever you're opening or looking for wholesale accounts. Some wholesalers have their prices on screen, so it's just like I don't know, it's like you're going on an OA, an online arbitrage store, where you've got all the products and you've got all the prices for all products on screen. Some wholesalers, they may not even show prices until you've actually got an account. Okay, that's a sign of a much more focused in on wholesale and the wholesale retailer relationship. Where and it's not to say that you can't use a wholesaler that shows prices, but usually when you're working with a wholesaler, they may have a catalogue, or they might only release prices once you've got the account opened. Okay, so this is just one way of finding some wholesalers. It's the most basic and easy way, just using Google, searching different search terms, going into the realms of Google as deeply as you may want to go. Page 14, who's on page 14? We've got CLC Wholesale UK, and it looks like they do different books, etc. So, I mean, if we click on any of these, what does it show? But if this is something that you're interested in, you can see there is no price that it allows me to see unless I log in, right? So there's different processes and different steps that you may have to take. But what you're going to want to do is just start to fill in as many from Google as you want right there. Another strategy you can use is you can go on to find different trade shows around where you may want to explore. So I'm going to give you the example of the Spring Fair. So the Spring Fair is a local trade show. You'll be able to find different websites for many different trade shows. But this one here, you'll see some trade show websites, it's going to show the exhibitor list, right? The exhibitor list. And in here, you can see straight away, these are all suppliers. Now, depending on what categories that you want to search in, so let's say you're looking specifically for toys and games, then all of a sudden, look, you've got all these wholesalers right here. And let's say, for example, I'm looking at Believe You Can, right? Believe You Can, this seems to be a supplier here. They were at the trade show, so they look like they want to do business and they want to build relationship. And all of a sudden now, we've got their email, we've got their website, we've got their Facebook pages, we've got their Twitter accounts, we've got their LinkedIn. And all these, all of a sudden, you're now on their website, right? You've got potential details that you can go onto. So you've got help, you've got you can get in contact with them, contact us. All of a sudden, you've got the potential to reach out to them. You've got phone numbers, you've got addresses, you've got forms that you can fill in. So this is one way that you can actually start to make contact. On their Facebook page, you can see they've got 10,000 people that follow them and like them. There's their URL again. You've got an email, a Louise. Then you've got a potential contact there straight away. You can take this one step further. You can go on to LinkedIn. So just out of curiosity, Believe You Can, Louise. Right. So I'm just going onto my LinkedIn and I'm just gonna put in Believe You Can, and just to see what it sort of comes up with. It might not. I'm just going to put Believe You Can. Let's just put Louise. Let's just see what it comes up with. And you can see here, we've got a Louise right here. You can see director, Believe You Can, Fair Trade. It seems to be the founder and director. And you can see you've got third connection here. So basically what you're doing here is LinkedIn allows you to build connections with people. And if you find somebody that is a part of a wholesale company, you may want to connect with them on LinkedIn, because then you expand in your network, your reach of people. And then that wholesaler might be connected to another wholesaler because they met at a trade show. And there's many different ways that you can then connect with that person. And this then just gets you a wholesale supply list. So I've just mentioned very, very quickly there, we've got just general Google, we've got trade show lists, we've got LinkedIn. You can get their contact details. And all we're doing is we're just creating a supplier shortlist. A supplier shortlist that after you've filled this in, and you might want to take an hour, 2 hours doing this, you may have 10, 15, 20 different wholesalers on this shortlist, and then you go, okay, these are great wholesalers. You might want to put yourself a note in here saying, they've got this particular, selling this brand, for example, or this type of product, or they look like this is a particular item that I was really looking for. Let's say you're doing online arbitrage, or you've been selling a product and you want to see where it's been manufactured. You can get details off the back of products. There's so many different ways that you can try to find where the wholesalers may be, where the distributors may be, the approved sellers of that particular brand or that product. So the goal behind this second video is really just to get you to the point where, okay, I've got some foundations, let's go look for a short list of different wholesalers, and it's going to get you to the point where you can actually start to make contact, right? You can start to make contact, and that's where all the foundations plays a big part. And specifically your website and your details and the photos and where you're actually shipping to, etc. And that's why one of the things that we've done a part of the prep service is, because we've got a warehouse and we've got many of our amazing partners that work with us, whenever they're asking to open accounts, we approve, we can use on their websites their details. They can show, okay, this is where the products will be going. This is where the address, and we've actually got some evidence. This is the warehouse, 10,000 square foot warehouse, and this is the team that then prepare. But even if you don't use us, and if you are interested, it's FBA Prep Service UK or FBA Prep Service USA.com. You can use obviously your own unit, your own warehouse. You can send your own photos and put them on your website, your address, your details, etc. So this is just a great way of finding a short list of wholesale suppliers that you can use to start looking at contacting. And this is where the amazing thing happens, that you start to build some great relationships. You start to ask those questions, and you can, depending on what you are looking for, you can then start to call them, and it's all about opening the account. And there's some specific things that they might ask for. They might ask whether you sell on Amazon, and there's different responses that you may give, and there's different phone scripts that you can develop, and what you do say and what you don't say and how you say it. But that really does expand past the sort of scope of this particular video. But if you are interested in learning a little bit more, then you can check out FBA Prep Service UK.com, or number two, if you could just go to lifesuccessengineer.com/wholesale, you'll also get some additional sort of free different trainings that go into specific topics around this wholesale or this training, as well as the Wholesale Academy, which is a step-by-step program by a good friend of mine called Larry from Watch Me Amazon. So this has been sort of part two. Really looking forward to part three, because part three is now you've been in contact, you've started to try getting some accounts open, you've hopefully got some accounts opened, and you've got some stock lists, and that's where it starts to get super exciting. It can be challenging as well, because you get stock lists and you've got to go through things. You've got to go through each list. There's many different ways of analysing stock lists, but that's what part three is going to be all about. So take care. Keep taking massive action. Let me know down below if you enjoyed this. Please give it a big thumbs up. Please hit the subscribe button. My name's Kev from LifeSuccessEngineer.com, inspiring you every single day to keep taking massive action. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.